Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 26th of October 2018. Today's Friday, last trading day for this week. So hope you're having, for those who are already awake, hope you're having a good day. For those who are just getting started, yep, I hope you will have a good day. Yep. So as always, we're going to have a look at a few instruments, a few charts, but before we start looking at that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so hope I won't have any problems with my internet connection as I had this morning. So basically I hope you can hear me well and everything's running smoothly. Okay, now then guys, right, hope, like I said, I hope everything's okay. So let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on quickly is the Dow Jones. Now the Dow yesterday had a good day, of course. We saw the Dow closing, and actually all the indices closing in the green, of course, but the situation was slightly different once the closing bell rang, because the futures market declined here, and of course, looking at currently at the cash index on Dow Jones, we can see that it's trading around the 24,800, maybe just slightly below that. So in a way, basically what we're going to get here today is a little gap here, or just the candle basically is going to be inside here. So for now, if that's the case, I mean, if this index is going to continue trading within these boundaries here, and the boundaries that I've got here are on the downside is the 24,540 area, approximately there, approximately the low of yesterday, and on the upside here we do have the an important level here, which is the 24,909, or just maybe actually slightly above that. We do have the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line on the daily chart. So in a way, this is where the index could continue trading. But if, let's say, it moves back above the 200 EMA and closes the day above this 200 EMA, then, well, there could be some potential of maybe seeing a bit of correction here to the upside, where we're going to aim for a possible test of the 25,310 area, approximately there, 315, something like that, because if we do get a nice break above this level, now we could maybe see this one moving a little bit higher, potentially hitting this little area here at around 25,800. Now that's quite a decent jump, of course, but still, I mean, we'll just probably continue monitoring this one, see how it performs. Of course, if, like I said, if it moves to the upside, but if this gets above this level, the 25,800, then we could potentially maybe see a little bit more here to the upside, where we're going to aim for the 26,165 or slightly higher. But of course, in a way, for those who are less patient, I would probably say, yeah, you could start looking at a possible move here. But in that case, if you are looking at a possible entry around here, around the 25,315, then, well, be very cautious, because this could reverse straight away and move back down towards the 200 EMA here. So in a way, guys, this could be a nice potential upside scenario if we get a nice break above the 25,315, where we could then aim for the 25,800. But again, coming back to the same point that currently the markets are quite weak, and we are going to be trading around here somewhere today. So probably the closest scenario to reality would be to keep an eye on this little level, on the yesterday's lows at around 24,540, because if this gets broken, well, guess what? I mean, this could potentially lead the way towards the next possible area of support here near the 24,000, the psychological 24,000. As you can see here, back in June, it acted as a very nice area of support around this area, so the 24,000 becomes the level to watch if we get a break here below the yesterday's lows. So for now, be very cautious, be very careful with the upside. Again, it's even if, like I said, if we're going to get above this level here that I've got marked as the 24,900, and let's put it 10, if we even get a move above that, still we do have the 200 EMA here, so be very cautious with that one. So yep, but for, like I said, you could potentially start looking at something more higher if we get closer towards the 25,315 zone. So for now, be very careful. Jumping into Nikkei. Now Nikkei is probably well, I don't want to use the word disaster, but in a way it's not really looking good. And as initially, of course, we saw this one trading above the short-term upside support line that was taken from the low of the 26th of March. We broke it to the downside. This week, of course, you saw this nice slide here lower, and we also now broke the slightly longer term upside support line taken from the lows of the 8th of September last year. So as you can see, now it's kind of trading below it, and today it closed below that as well. So in a way, what we're going to keep an eye on is, of course, we're on the upside here. We're going to keep an eye on this upside support line, see how it behaves around that, how the index, of course, behaves around that line. If we get a nice break here to the upside, then yep, you could in a way keep your eyes on this. Let me just adjust this level here. You could keep an eye on this little level here around 21,700, because a nice good break above that level could potentially send this one a little bit higher, where we could fill in the gap here that we had this week, and it could potentially test the 21,920. And if it continues to push higher, certainly we're going to start looking at these levels here, but also we're going to keep an eye on the 200 EMA here shown as the black line. So but that's, of course, with the upside scenario. Let me just kind of put the arrow here back down, and this is what you could probably look at as well. But if this continues weakening further, and if we start breaking today's lows near the 20,972, well, I mean, brace yourself. We could see maybe another drop here towards the lows that we saw around March time as well, and that would be around the 20,345 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Jumping into DXY. Now, this is what I quickly wanted to show you. Of course, the dollar index continues to look good and look strong, but let's jump into a 4-hour chart on this one. So basically, as you can see, we're still climbing above this. We're climbing higher above this upside support line taken from the low of the 24th of September, but also we do have this slightly more steeper, I shouldn't use the word more, but a steeper upside support line here taken from the lows of the 16th of October. Now, of course, what's interesting here is that it continues to create these higher lows and continues to climb. So our next potential target is the 97 zone, approximately there. Now the 97 zone has been seen as the peak here that we had around August time. So the highest point of August, from which it kind of reversed back down here, where we actually managed to drop all the way here towards the 93 zone, 93.80 zone, and now we're climbing higher and possibly could be on the path of testing this area here, the 97 zone again. And certainly the big question here would be then how far it could climb if, let's say, we get a nice break above this. Now, looking at this, in a way, you could maybe try to draw here like a channel here, something like this, in order to kind of see how much further it could potentially climb. In a way, you could see something like this, could see this possibility, or of course, initially, before kind of looking into a channel, let me just kind of drag this chart a little bit lower. There you go. So you could see in a way something like a rising veg formation here. Certainly, I mean, this is just an idea, guys. I mean, let's, of course, you know, somebody can accuse me of trying to see things that are not there, but still, nevertheless, if this gets broken, I mean, then yep, I mean, we could see, like I said, if we get a move towards the 97 zone, then yep, we're going to scrap the whole rising veg idea, but because then we're going to maybe look at the possible channel here, rising channel, of course, and where we could then see maybe a test of this upper side of this rising channel here, and then we could see maybe a bit of a correction here back to the downside. But for now, on the downside, if let's say this drops below the 96.55 zone, yep, keep your eyes on this on this short-term upside support line here. Let me just get rid of this one. There we go. And for us to get more comfortable with further declines here, seeing maybe a move back towards this this kind of more longer-term or medium-term upside support line, we need to see a nice good break here below the 96.20, and this way we could then target a possible move towards. Let me just kind of put an arrow here. So we could then see a possible move here towards this upside support line here, taken from the lows of the September here. So something like this could be possible, but of course, let's say at the moment it continues to look strong. The DXY is certainly as the one to watch, and yep, we could then target the 97 level. But on the downside, again, like I said, if we do get a break here below this upside support line, well, still be very careful. For us to get comfortable with the further declines, we would need to see a break below the 96.20. Jumping into EURJPY, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but basically, in a way, we're having a nice rebound here from this 127 zone. Now, just to kind of remind you guys, the 127 acted as a very nice area of resistance here way back in August, and that was like the high of the 14th of August that we had here. So this is quite an important level to watch. So in a way, if this channel that I've got here, the downwards moving channel, if this gets if we can actually break the 127 level today, then yep, we could potentially see maybe a further drop here, maybe even towards this lower side of this potential falling channel formation that I've got drawn here. So in a way, for the downside, guys, again today, who's going to be continuing to trade here, especially for those who are trading the EURJPY, keep your eyes on the 127, because if we get a nice drop here below this line again, then this could potentially lead towards much lower levels, and or at least towards this lower side of the falling channel formation. On the upside, for us to get comfortable, of course, we would need to see that break of this upper side of this falling channel, but for probably to get more comfortable, let's put it that way, a nice good break above the 127.70 could potentially open the path back up here towards the 128.30 initially, and then we'll just have to examine it again and see what it wants to do. Does it want to continue traveling higher, or is actually this is where the bears are going to take advantage of the higher rate and push it back down again? So for now, this is what we're going to keep an eye on the downside, the 127 zone; on the upside, the 127.70. Jumping into GBPUSD. Certainly getting a nice rejection here near the 1.2785. Certainly just had a bit of an undershoot here, and managed to test the 127.75 zone, from which it kind of reversed quickly back to the upside, and now we're hanging around the 128 zone, so approximately there. So this area here, the 128, was marked here by the lows that we saw around the 4th of September. For the short-term traders, of course, you could in a way keep your eyes on this, let me just put it now, trend line here. So you could in a way keep your eyes on this line, on this downwards moving resistance line that kind of in a way continues to be respected, and if you're looking for maybe a possible entry for to capture that little correction here, you could in a way start looking at the 128.25 zone. A nice good break above this. Let me just put a quick arrow here, guys, and a nice good break above that could potentially lead towards a test of this downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 16th of October. So for now, basically, long story short, on the upside for the short-term traders, keep your eyes on the 128.25. Certainly, I cannot put more emphasis than, like, you need to have your stop losses in place here, because we could in a way see this one traveling a little bit higher actually, and then getting rejected near these lows that we saw around the 24th of October, and that's approximately around the 128.65, and from which kind of it could reverse and move down again. So in a way, that's what I'm saying. So let's say if you are entering a position here, guys, if you're in profit, put your stop loss just to break even, just in case, you know, this reverses and moves back down again. So on the downside, we're going to keep an eye on the 127.85. A nice good break below that could open the path towards much lower levels, but if we see that, we'll just examine it again and see how it's performing then. Jumping into USDJPY before I run out of time, and this one continues to hug around this upside support line, this kind of short, or should I say medium, yeah, it's more of a short-term actually upside support line. So you can see it continues to balance here. Now this is what I'm talking about, because for us to get bearish on this one, it's not enough to see this break below this upside support line. We need to see a good close below the 111.65, and then we could aim for lower levels. Here is, and the level here to watch could be the 111.10, which was marked here by the lows of the 12th of September. On the upside, well, we're going to take a more conservative approach here and wait until this kind of gets above the 112.80, and then we're going to be very cautious near the 112.90. But if that gets cleared easily, well, it could be opening the path towards slightly higher levels like the 113.30 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me next week on Monday, and that's on my Traders Espresso, of course, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. For those who are still trading, I hope you're very cautious and very careful with this market this week. And yep, I hope you get a lot of pips. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.